Okay, so remember, we were just where Amy Ann got caught. And so now she's going to the principal's office. Busted. My parents were called in. Mom had to get pulled out of a meeting. Dad still had on his work overalls, and his hands were covered in red brick dust. At first, they thought I was hurt or that someone had done something awful to me. They never guessed that I was the one who had gotten into trouble. I was Amy Ann Oylander. I was the girl who always did what her parents and teachers told her to. I was the girl who never complained, never spoke up, never said what she was really thinking. Principal Bansky showed them the books, told my parents what I've been doing. My parents looked at me like they'd never seen me before. Some of these are Shelbourne Elementary Library books, Principal Bansky said. She had them separated out in stacks on her desk next to the grinning bananas in sunglasses. They are all the books we'd taken from Miss Jones's office, minus the ones that were checked out. Did Miss Jones give you these books? No, I said. I didn't want Miss Jones to get into trouble over this. Just the thought of that made me even sicker than I was over getting caught. Are you saying you stole school property then? Principal Banskiweska said. I didn't say anything. Amy Ann, this is no time to protect anybody, Mom said. Miss Jones is an adult. She's responsible for her own actions. She didn't know, I said. We took those books from the library. It's not stealing if you borrow a library book. That's what they're for. Who is we? Miss Banskiweska said. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I hadn't meant to say that. Nobody. I did it all by myself, I said. Principal Bansky frowned. You're not going to tell me who else was in on it with you? I hesitated, then shook my head and looked at the floor. Amy Ann, Mom said. I didn't care how much more trouble I was going to get into. I wasn't going to drag Rebecca and Danny down with me. We'll find out, Principal Bansky said. We'll be able to get back all the books she's loaned out to other students, too. We have a list of all the students who checked out books from her little illegal library. She lifted a stack of index cards. My due date cards. I closed my eyes and the tears came again. I should have listened to Rebecca. Never leave a trail. I'm going to have to write a letter home to the parents of each and every one of these children, Amy Ann, explaining how inappropriate and potentially harmful book came into their possession at my school. Principal Bansky said. There may even be lawsuits. You've heard a lot of people other than with this little stunt. Principal Bansky waited for me to say something in my defense, but I was done speaking up for good. As this is Amy Ann's first major offense, she won't be expelled, Principal Bansky said. But for the theft of school property and for willfully defying the Wake County School Board, Amy Ann is suspended for 3 days. Right and wrong. I couldn't very well stay with my dad in a construction site, so I spent the day in my mom's office. I did the homework Mr. Vaughn had sent me home with, then hid in the corner reading Indian Captive, which I checked out from the real school library. When I finished it, I just read it again. Like Mary Jameson, I swore I would bear my pain quietly and without complaint. If I had been quiet before, I was going to be silent from now on. Speaking up just got you into trouble. Mom didn't have much to say to me all day, anyways. I could tell she was still thinking about what to say and how to punish me. Because getting suspended from school wasn't going to be enough. Parents can't just let the bad stuff that happens when you make a mistake be all there is to it. They always have to add on some punishment of their own, too, to remind you that they're in charge. That afternoon, I went to my room without being told and crawled under the blankets to my bed. Normally, Alexis would have been using my bed for a ballet beret, but today she kept away. She snuck in once to get her tutu, then slipped out again without saying a word. That was fine with me. I had tried reading Indian Captain again, but I couldn't focus on it. All I could think about were all the kids who had borrowed books from me. They were all going to get letters sent home from school, and a lot of them were going to get into trouble, and it was my fault. Everybody who started to like me was going to hate me again. Dad brought me dinner on a tray and told me I was to come and see him and mom both when I was done. No matter how slowly I ate, I knew I couldn't put it off forever. Halfway through, I couldn't eat anymore, anyways. It was time to face my parents. Dad was doing the dishes when I came in. I sat at the table and he called mom in and dried his hands. The air felt heavier in the kitchen, like someone had just died. Angelina appeared in the doorway. Is Amy Ann in trouble? She asked. Yes, genius, I thought, but I didn't say it. I was done talking. Go back to the living room, mom said. Alexis, come get your sister and keep her in the living room, please. There was to be no witnesses to my execution. When Alex and Angelina were gone, mom and dad shared another of those looks. This one I couldn't read. It said, "We better get this over with." I started to suck on my braids, but I knew that would just make mom more frustrated, so I fought the temptation. Amy Ann, we don't know how or where to begin, dad said. We're just so shocked that you could do this. It's so unlike you. I didn't say anything. We're very disappointed, mom said. We expect better out of you. We expect you to set an example for your sisters. I didn't think that I had any more tears left in me, but I started crying again. On the other hand, dad said, we're proud of you for taking a stand. Mom and dad shared another of those looks between them. Frankly, we were getting a little worried that you'd never stand up for yourself, never speak up. I hiccuped a sob. What good does it do to speak up when no one listens to what I'm saying? I thought, but I didn't say it. Keeping all that inside isn't healthy, mom said, and we agree there are times you have to stand up for what you want. Or what is right, dad said. We don't necessarily agree with Principal Bansky Weska and the school board on this book banning business. I sniffed and rubbed my nose with my hand. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was I not going to get any more punishment? But there's a right way and a wrong way to voice your objections, mom said. And this banned book library in your locker was the wrong way. Right. So I was getting more punishment after all. You broke the rules, kiddo, dad said. Right or wrong, the school board made a decision that those books weren't appropriate for elementary school students, and you have to respect that decision. Mom said, you can't just decide what an adult tells you is wrong and do whatever you want. But what if the adult was wrong? Mom and dad just said they didn't agree with the school board. And if the adults didn't play by their own rules, was that what was a kid supposed to do? Just give up and do whatever they said? I wanted to argue with them, but I didn't. I just sat there and stared at the table. We'll deal with whatever else comes of this, Dad said. I think Miss Banskiweska's threat about lawsuits was a bit much, but I do think there are going to be some pretty angry parents. That little woman who spoke at the school board meeting isn't going to be very happy. I really didn't care how Miss Spencer felt, or her stupid son for that matter. There's something else we'd like to talk to you about, Amy Ann, Mom said. Something even more disturbing to us. In talking with Principal Banskiweska, we've also discovered that you haven't been attending any of the after school activities you told us you've been doing. I reeled. This on top of the BBLL suspension? I was totally blindsided. Why have you been staying late after school if you're not in any of these clubs? Dad said. Because I need some time by myself. Because I don't have a quiet place of my own where I can just curl up in the corner with a book and read. I wanted to tell them, but I didn't say anything. More than anything, I think it's the lying that hurts me most, Amy Ann, my mother said. I started to cry again. I couldn't look at either of them in the face. I felt sick for lying to them. Your father and I have decided to ground you for a week, Mom said. We know that doesn't mean much, though, since all you do is sit in your room and read books. So we're not allowing you to read anything that isn't for school assignment either. I felt dizzy. Not read for an entire week? What was I going to do? How was I going to survive? I was suspended. Everyone at school hated me, and I had nowhere to hide. My books were all I had left. My sobs overtook me. The phone rang, and Dad got up to answer it. Hello? Yes. Oh, I don't think that would be a good idea. No, thank you, but no. That was the local news, Dad said. He sighed. The story's out. They're calling to see if they could interview Amy Ann about the locker library. Great, Mom said. That's all we need. All right, Amy Ann, go to your room. Tomorrow, you have to come in the office with me. Bring your school books, but no other books. Understand? I nodded and hurried away. Alexis wasn't in our room when I got there. I ran inside and threw myself on the bed, burying my face in my pillow to cry. I had ruined everything. Everything. My friends were never going to talk to me again. My parents were never going to trust me again. Nobody was ever going to think of me as the good girl who did what she was told. The dogs hopped on my bed and stuck their wet noses in my neck, trying to make me feel better. Amy Ann, it was Angelina. She was standing in the door to my room. The dogs must have come with her. She and Alexis must have been loving this. Go away, I told her, my face still buried in my pillow. Dogs lay down with me and the room got quiet. I guess Angelina had gone. Then I felt something nudge my arm, something soft and furry that wasn't one of the dogs. I opened my eyes. Angelina was gone, but she left me her favorite stuffed pony to make me feel better. So I want you to think about what Amy Ann is going through here. She didn't speak up at the beginning. She never said what she thought. And then she did something she believed in. And now everyone's against her. She thinks um, her friends aren't going to be friends with her anymore. Her parents are mad. They're not going to let her read. So think about that. Think about what this must be like and why she's saying that she doesn't want to talk anymore.